She was only 17 years old. She had never commanded an army. She couldn't read, had no military training, and came from a small farming village. Yet within months, hardened generals followed her into battle. A king trusted her judgment, and the course of one of Europe's greatest wars changed forever. Was she truly sent by God? Or was she simply an ordinary girl who dared to believe the impossible? During the early 15th century, France was a kingdom on the brink of collapse. For nearly 100 years, the 100 Years' War had devastated the land, leaving villages in ruins, fields abandoned, and entire generations shaped by fear. English armies controlled vast territories, powerful French nobles fought among themselves, and many believed the kingdom would soon disappear altogether. Hope had become a rare and fragile thing, especially for the ordinary people who suffered the most. In a small village called Domremy, far from the castles and battlefields where kings decided the fate of nations, lived a teenage girl whose life seemed destined to remain unnoticed. She spent her days helping her family tend their animals, working in the fields, and attending church. Nothing about her suggested that history would one day remember her name. From an early age, Joan claimed that she experienced something she could not explain. While others heard only the sounds of nature, she believed she heard voices speaking to her with remarkable clarity. According to her own testimony, these voices belonged to Saint Michael the Archangel, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. They urged her to remain faithful to God and gradually entrusted her with an extraordinary mission: to help save France and lead the rightful heir, Charles, to his coronation. To anyone who heard such a story, the idea seemed impossible. She was young, uneducated, and had never left her village. No one expected a peasant girl to influence the destiny of a kingdom. At first, almost no one believed her. When Joan began telling local officials that God had called her to meet the Dauphin Charles, she was mocked and dismissed. Some thought she was confused. Others believed she was dangerously delusional. Yet her determination never wavered. After months of persistence, she was finally granted permission to travel across dangerous territory to meet the future king. The journey itself was astonishing, requiring her to cross regions controlled by enemy forces. Disguised in men's clothing for protection, she traveled hundreds of miles through forests, villages, and military checkpoints, convinced that her mission came not from ambition, but from God. When she finally arrived at the royal court in Chinon, another remarkable event took place. According to tradition, Charles deliberately hid among his courtiers, hoping to test whether Joan truly possessed divine guidance. Without hesitation, she walked through the crowded hall and approached the man she had never seen before, recognizing him immediately. Whatever passed between them during their private conversation has never been fully revealed, but it profoundly affected the future king. Against the advice of many experienced nobles, Charles allowed the young woman to accompany the French army. The city of Orléans had become the symbol of France's desperation. If it fell, many believed the war would be lost forever. French soldiers were exhausted after years of defeat, and morale had nearly vanished. Joan did not arrive, carrying superior weapons or military experience. She carried something far less tangible, but infinitely more powerful: hope. Wearing white armor and carrying a banner bearing the names of Jesus and Mary, she rode among the soldiers, encouraging them to believe that France had not been abandoned. Her confidence spread quickly through the ranks. Men who had long expected defeat suddenly fought with renewed courage. Against nearly every expectation, the siege of Orléans was broken. Victory after victory followed, as the French army regained territory that had seemed permanently lost. Whether one attributes these successes to Joan's leadership, her extraordinary ability to inspire others, military circumstances, or divine intervention, one fact remains undeniable: her presence transformed the confidence of an entire nation. Within months, Charles was able to travel to the Cathedral of Reims, where he was crowned King Charles VII, fulfilling the mission Joan claimed she had received years earlier. But triumph did not protect her from betrayal. In 1430, during a military campaign near Compiègne, Joan was captured by Burgundian forces allied with England. Instead of being treated as a prisoner of war, she was sold to the English, who understood that defeating her on the battlefield was no longer enough. If they wished to destroy the hope she represented, they needed to destroy her reputation as well. Her trial became one of the most famous in history. Over many months, learned theologians and judges questioned the young woman relentlessly, hoping to force her into contradicting herself or denying the visions she claimed to have received. Despite her lack of formal education, Joan answered with remarkable intelligence, composure, and courage. Many of her responses continue to astonish historians even today. Faced with threats, intimidation, and the certainty of death, she refused to abandon what she believed God had entrusted to her. On the 30th of May, 1431, in the marketplace of Rouen, Joan of Arc was led to the stake. She was only 19 years old. Witnesses later recalled that she repeatedly called upon the name of Jesus as the flames rose around her. Even some English soldiers reportedly wept, convinced they had executed an innocent young woman. Her ashes were scattered into the Seine River so that no relic could remain, but her memory proved impossible to erase. 25 years later, a new investigation ordered by the Church declared that her original trial had been deeply flawed and politically motivated. Joan's conviction was overturned, restoring her honor. Centuries afterward, in 1920, she was canonized as Saint Joan of Arc, becoming one of the most beloved saints in Christian history and a lasting symbol of courage, faith, and unwavering conviction. History often celebrates kings, conquerors, and powerful rulers. Yet one of the most extraordinary figures of the Middle Ages was neither a queen nor a general. She was a young village girl who believed that obedience to God mattered more than fear. Whether remembered as a military heroine, a national symbol, or a saint, Joan of Arc continues to remind the world that history is sometimes changed not by those with the greatest power, but by those with the greatest courage.